It's week 6, my friends, and I am praying that you are already seeing how the time and the heart and the energy that you have invested into this study is bearing fruit in your life and in your parenting. I think you are going to feel very empowered in this week's homework because we're going to see how everything we have studied so far and everything that God has done in our hearts so far really is essential to living as a mom set free. This week entails a lot of practical application for parenting with the gospel. We're going to tackle a lot of the big and common questions around what it means to actually parent with grace. And we're also going to discover how to get unstuck from anger. If you'll remember in week 2, we talked about anger as being one of those places that we get stuck. And so this week, we're going to see how the gospel empowers us to parent with gentleness and self-control. Rest assured, I am still learning how to do that. In fact, just the other day, while working on this study, I was reminded of how very much I'm still learning to do that. My boys were playing basketball in the backyard, and their words started flying and their voices started rising. And so I called them inside, and with gritted teeth and a very angry face, I started telling them that we treat each other with kindness in our family and that only love is spoken here. And I caught myself in the mirror. I had a glimpse of myself in the mirror as I was unleashing on my kids. And I thought, oh, the irony, because the very thing I am attempting to correct in them was the very thing I was modeling to them. And so while correcting them, I also had the opportunity to practice the Me Too that we studied in our homework last week. But thankfully, those moments are fewer. They're fewer than they used to be. And God is not finished with me yet. Do you know how much hope that brings me? That by the power of His Holy Spirit, He is still faithfully sanctifying me and transforming me into His image. He is not done with me yet, and He is not done with you yet. That is such good news. But before we wrap up, I want to share this one last thing with you because I don't want us picking back up pressures and burdens that we have already laid down. What I want to beg us to remember is that we don't have the responsibility or even the ability to transform our children's hearts. But we do have the ability to help them understand what's going on inside of their hearts, right? So the transforming part is entirely God's gig, and He does it by His grace. We have the responsibility of reflecting His heart to them as we help them understand what's going on inside their heart. In Romans chapter 2, verse 4 paints a beautiful picture of what that looks like. Paul writes in Romans, God is kind, but He's not soft. In kindness, He takes us firmly by the hand, and He leads us into radical life change. I just love the visual I get when I read that verse in the Message paraphrase. God isn't soft, but He is kind. He is a strong God. He is a firm God, but He is also gentle. He puts His hand in ours, and He leads us into a transformed, God-glorifying, freedom-full way of life. That is what He does. And that's the kind of life that we get to help lead our children in. So friends, enjoy this last week of your study, and I'll see you back here next week to wrap up and discover all of the things that God has done in each one of our hearts. Thank you for being here.